So that's why I'm saying it's not necessarily always going to be the upgrade being the upgrade. Kind of been asking questions about these Ovonic air packs. Keep in mind, we're not charging. We're just checking these cells. So these are the Ovonic Air 7600 50C packs. The Big Rock is like putting a beat down on these packs. It's literally pack after pack after pack. These have been sitting for a couple of days, fully charged. So I figured I'd put it on this checking device and check both of them. And yeah, they're basically like, yeah, I'm just checking the cells. Upgrades aren't always upgrades. There was a little bit of maybe something in the thumbnail. You know, there's a big name. There's also a bunch of other big names. So we got Hot Racing, Atomic, GPM. You obviously got RPM. Upgrades are not always upgrades. And we're going to talk a little bit further about that. But this morning, I went to go take out my Big Rock. I was going over a couple of things. We had already done a repair on it. Yeah, going over a couple of things, I'd noticed that there was still a little bit of slop in the front end. And I wanted to see what was going on as far as that slop was concerned. Well, unfortunately, this area right here, I'm experiencing a little extra slop that I really don't want. So I think we're coming across a little bit of a upgrade, not upgrade issue. So anyways, if you're interested in watching this episode from RC Guy Garage, very simply, just going to dive in and show you that just because you're buying the upgrade doesn't necessarily fully mean it's the actual upgrade. So let's get into it. Now, I've always been curious about this. How many people, when you watch my GoPro video, so obviously I'm using a GoPro video, you could probably tell because of the fisheye lens, but how many people actually watch this versus watching the actual, like, real screen? Because watch. How many people watch that? I just thought that was funny because, believe it or not, I catch myself every once in a while checking this. And I use this as my second screen or my screen for the GoPro because the GoPro has a tendency to black out, which is fine because it's conserving power. And it's, well, I just blacked out right now. Conserving power and just whatever. So I'm recording at 1080p at 30 frames per second. Don't need anything beyond that. And I am at a wide format. So let's just get into the Big Rock. We had addressed initially, and I know these aren't really clickbait because I'm waiting for, there's a guy out there. He's supposed to be putting out a video about this company. And I'm waiting because I'm not going to put out my company. And I'm not going to put out my video until he does. Now, there's a couple of things I wanted to show you. One thing is technically an error on my part. And this is what I was going to address this morning. But I had also noticed that I definitely have like extra slop. It's not just these ball ends. Obviously, my ball ends are now wasted. So when you see this and you look at that ball end, you can see literally it's like, we're talking slop nation here. See what I'm saying? It is basically just not even on that ball end anymore. Now, there's something that I could do to tighten that up. We know the shrink wrap deal. You can use shrink wrap. Doesn't always work because it depends upon, you know, the size of the ball and all that other stuff. The other thing that you can do is also use zip tie. That will just tighten up that joint. But as far as this Big Rock goes, I'm driving it until I exhaust, you know, it's, I guess, original resources. So in the back we're fine. It's a little bit different as far as the front. The front is getting a lot more just movement abuse than the rear does. But you can see that end link is just all over the place. Same exact thing as the other side, all over the place. I did capture the steering knuckle portions that you can see that silver piece. That's a washer. So I now did capture that, but I left it in the video for people to, I guess, see. So the last snow rip video, you saw me do two things and nobody commented. So I'm not sure, maybe people didn't understand, but there's a reason why certain things are left in the video. You saw me one time walk over to the truck. It was at full lock and it wouldn't come out of steering. Okay, so what I had done is I grabbed the wheel and I just gave it a crank, threw it down and ripped it. Another time, again, it was at full lock. I don't know if somebody didn't notice or whatever. I think it was actually this way. It was full lock this way. And when I reversed it, I knew what the issue was. And what I did is I gave the truck a kick right here. And I don't know if you saw what just happened. Now, I've been having issues with my hot racing upgrade. It's solved one issue, but it's creating others. Yeah, it's kind of rough to talk about, man, because I almost feel with this hot racing piece, I feel like I may have possibly wasted my money, but then again, not. And I think the purpose of this whole video is to show you, like, stuff as I come across things. So I could say, like, all day long that Atomic, RPM, GPM, hot racing, I could say that, oh, they're great. And I could just basically just, you know, not reveal my findings, but it also creates content. I'm not saying this is with every situation, but potentially with these smaller parts, yes. It's called over-torquing. And I obviously had over-torqued my, well, no, I can't say that. Could be the quality of the metal. So we're going along the lines of not only is it possible that I over-torqued, but it could be the quality of the metal. And I'll show you what we're talking about. Like, I'm going to take that wheel off again. How many people watch that screen versus this screen? It's like a paradox. All right, so what's happening, right? I'm going to take the wheel off and give you a better idea of what's going on. I probably will have to use like pliers to get that stinking wheel off too. So I already know that these are cranked on with thread lock. So it does make it a little hard to remove. So that's off. All right, nuts out. So while the hot racing piece looks like, you know, a piece of glory, it looks like just a piece of just amazingness, there is a possibility of over-torquing. And I do believe that that's what I did with this. So maybe it's a quality issue. I kind of don't think so, only because there is also the possibility that I did torque this and thread locked it correctly, but maybe just there's too much movement. I don't know. What I can feel is there's a little bit of looseness on that bottom kingpin area. There's like a little metal sleeve or a bushing that's in the plastic, and I can feel a looseness back there. So not only are my ball end links wearing, which is normal, so these would be the pivot balls, those would be the turnbuckle end caps. So there we go. This is a consumable item. Not only is that wearing, but what I wanted to show you is what happens on full lock. All right. So my truck was doing this. Okay. And what would happen was obviously it would get stuck. Well, in the original design, which is why I'm saying the upgrade is not always an upgrade. In the original design, the hub is not only captured, okay, but it's also designed this way on purpose. So when we look at the arm, you can see, at least I hope you can see. How do I do this? Get this out of here. Get my light. You can see it right there, I think. Can kind of see it. See this piece right here? It's a bump stop for the steering. So what's happening is the under part, because I had put the screw and I've got my washer on the top, because I have my screw on the top and I've got my nylock bolt on the bottom, because this stripped out, I don't want to say I used bearish strength. I felt like I screwed it in and it really didn't, like, I don't know. I felt like the threads just really, like, let loose way too easy. So what I ended up doing was I put a nylock nut on the bottom and I used the factory original bolt. So with that issue, now this factory original bolt is getting caught on that little bump stop. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch that over. So switch it over, meaning I'm going to flip-flop it. So I'm going to take that, flip-flop it to the bottom, see if we get any interference. Even like when you look up here, so see like even on the shock itself, see how the shock is actually got a lot of movement. It's the same exact thing on the other side, a lot of movement. Check the back. Same thing. The ball ends, which are a consumable or wearable part, they are wearing out. So, unfortunately, I didn't happen to see any replacement like plastic ball pieces. I did find the metal ones, which are Nero 6S ones. This made up my mind right away. $4.99 for what, 2? Versus if I get the hot racing part. Those ones fit this truck. But then we found the hot racing. And the hot racing will replace every single ball end piece on this truck. And I'm assuming the same thing with the Senton and the Granite. I'm assuming it's all the same exact everything. I'm not assuming in any way that, you know, one vehicle has like 1 or 2 extra ball ends over another. So I'm going to flop this over. See if I get interference. Right now the interference that I get is way too much. And I have to unlock my bottom first because it's still kind of threaded. This one actually might be all right. I might not have over-torqued it, which didn't really take much to over-torque. I think that's the negative. It could be the metal that they're using is just, I mean, I don't know. It's also the threads too, you know? It's aluminum. It is threads. They're aluminum threads. You know, there's like positives and negatives to like just about everything. So all I'm going to do is hopefully, look at that. The ball is stuck on the threads. So but look at that. See how all my ball ends are literally like just wearing out? They're just like so bad. So I'm actually going to go this way. Oh, I got to get this straight. Sometimes it is just easier just to switch over to electric. All right. I'm going to go like that. Hopefully that'll work. And now I can take that ball section piece, whatever, fit that on. And I'll take my washer, stick it over. Then I can put the nut on the top side here. And I'm not going to thread lock it because there still is thread lock kind of stuck in those threads. So I feel confident that it's good enough. Jeez. Almost feels like the nylock is, the thing is, the screw is stripped too. So that, let's see. There still is a little bit of interference. So now that the conflict is gone there, now it's causing that to buckle. Ah, man, you know what? Almost having that nut going that other way may have been better. Because now it's buckling. All right, never mind. Oh my god. All right, well, I'm just gonna leave this one. I'm gonna leave this one this way, and we'll see what happens. I don't know. It does get buckled, but it definitely, doing it this way, at least what's gonna happen is it's gonna slide off of that little section. Where this way, it had too much of a sharp, blunt edge, and it would get really caught, and I'd have to kick it. This way, I'm not sure. I don't think I'm going to have to kick it now. So I'm going to leave this as is, but what I wanted to show you was up here. So what I had done was, it was more on the bottom. I don't know what's going on with the top. The top here. Man, you got to be careful, man. It's a little loose, but It's loose, like almost strip loose. Bottom one's nice and tight. Toss the wheel on. I'm not going to thread this on because it already kind of has like thread lock. So that's good enough. Let's check the other side. How many people watch that screen? I should literally put it right here. Just to mess with people. Be like, which screen are you going to watch? This one? Or this one? This one or this one? Alright. Hey, it's all about having fun, right? Whoa. Now, just popping this side off real quick. Just want to see what the condition is here. So let's just move you in. All right. Actually, put that camera right there. That way I can see it and you can see it. Pretty distracting. This camera, that camera. Alright. Like I said, I'm going to leave this side as is just so I can... Because both sides would get stuck. So I want to see if in reality that's really what the fix is. I do feel it is because when you feel the actual arm piece, you can feel it's got a blunt portion and then it's got like a roll off. So what's weird is I think that... I wonder if they knew that that was doing that. Reason why I say that is see how this has got a nice roll off on here? A nice taper? That's not only for savings of material or just some threads to catch on. That's also for that back side of the bump stop. So when this piece, I'll do it the wrong way, but so when this piece hits that arm, right, in its fully drooped state, it hits up against the flat side of that little bump stop, technical piece, whatever. And then if it's in its flexed state, it could potentially go over and down. And then just, I think, the wheel trying to track its way back would cause that to kind of like ramp up and over. That's what I'm seeing with the design. So that's why I'm saying it's not necessarily always going to be the upgrade being the upgrade. I want to check this one. This one doesn't feel like any looseness on the bottom. Just want to make sure. There was a little bit of looseness on that, man. So what I want to do is tell you guys to make sure, at least on these kingpins, thread lock them and really be careful about what you're doing here. You're probably going to find that, like me, if you're not careful, and I did use thread lock, if you're not careful, you are going to strip this out. Now, why does the thread lock not completely seal? Not going to say it's because I don't wait 24 hours. I think I'm more along the lines that because it's like a flexible area or a flexible piece, that it's kind of like weaseling out the fastener. That's just a thought. So like I said, while we solved one issue, we gained a couple of others. We solved it on the other side. Hopefully we'll see on this side whether if this side sticks or not. And if it does, I'll reverse it. It's kind of like a test. So, yeah. Testing. So what this video did was it also gave, hopefully, time outside for it to warm up because, Alexa, what's the temperature outside?
Right now, it's 27 degrees Fahrenheit. Today, expect a high of 32 degrees.
I thought it was like 29 degrees earlier, so it actually got colder. Maybe it was 25 degrees, maybe I didn't pay attention. So, I'm gonna be out. You should get out too. Like I always say, just get out there and rip it. And this is, I know what it is, okay? It's the fact that with the bigger RCs, more power equals more breakage. If you got yourself one of these ARRMA Big Rock V3s, break your big one and then just rip this one.